Peacemaker, HBO's spin-off to the Suicide Squad, is funny, irreverent, crude, sometimes sad, beautifully chaotic, and utterly joyous. We got a chance to sit down with its creator, writer, director James Gunn, as well as its star John Cena, for a conversation about their brand new series. Check it out.
Any questions?
Have you met Wonder Woman?
She did spend an entire party IFing me from across the room.
Sick.
Dude, I said effing.
Hey James, hey John, it's an absolute pleasure to speak to you. I think one of the greatest travesties of the streaming era is the skip intro button. And I wanted to ask you about that credit sequence of Peacemaker, how it came about, how you guys pulled it off, because it really is genius how it appeals to both a child of the 1980s like myself and the TikTok generation. I've watched 7 episodes and I watch it all the way through.
I love it. I love it. That was our, the skip forward button is our enemy. So that was the thing we were trying to defeat. I hope we do it. I hope we inspire other TV shows to try to skip, to defeat the skip forward button. But a lot of people work hard on the show, and it's great to be able to see their names. I think that was something that was in the script from the very beginning when I first wrote it. The song was in it from the very beginning when I first wrote it. Wigwam, do you want to taste
Demeanor. It? Everybody's demeanor was written in. I mean, it was written absolutely as directed. Yep.
Yeah, and a woman by the name of Carissa Barton was the choreographer. She did a fantastic job dealing with these guys, and we shot it all in a single day in basically a school auditorium.
Absolutely stunning. I've got a question for the both of you, actually. It's one question, but I think it's different answers. I'll go with you first, John. I was watching the screeners, and my wife would walk by, and she'd be like, "God damn, John Cena's really good." So you play this lovable asshole, and I think it's one of the hardest things to do, to be able to create empathy and sympathy with a character who flips between good and bad. And I was wondering, what was your process in channeling something like that, in getting us to fall in love with this character? And the question's for you, James, as well, is because you write the best lovable assholes. And so what that process is like as well.
Yeah, I'll just briefly say that it's making the words on the page come to life. And James is super easy to work with in that regard. He's such a gifted writer. He paints such a clear picture that you basically just don't have to F it up. Like he's going to make sure it's what he wants and what he needs. But I think those are the most interesting characters. If we look at our social circles, we always talk about that friend that like, if he would only, or if she would only, they'd be all right. We never talk about like, this person's doing great. It's always the person that needs the most help that's on our minds the most, because we want to root for them, because I believe in those circles, we see their potential. And I think Peacemaker is no different. You see there's potential there, and you want to reach through the screen and be like, you can do it. And I think that's a lot of the gravity towards why people are interested in Peacemaker.
I think that is, most of us as human beings are hard on ourselves. We pick on ourselves, right? We tell ourselves things about ourselves we don't like. We tell ourselves things about us that are wrong. The hardest critic that most of us have is ourselves. And I love to take a character like Peacemaker, or like Rocket Raccoon, these characters that are really assholes, but to find the sort of beauty in those characters, because I think that helps us on our journey to kind of love ourselves, to care more about ourselves, to take care of ourselves, to not be so hard on ourselves. I mean, if Peacemaker is all right, then we're all right. And I think it also allows us to be kinder to other people, to look past people's exterior personalities and say, what is this person trying to do? What is their intention in this situation? And I think that if we find often people's executions are a lot worse than their intentions. And so I think it's a very forgiving thing to tell the story of a lovable asshole, because that allows us to love ourselves and others a little bit better.
James, my question's for you. If you wouldn't mind, an existential question. 2018 was obviously a very tumultuous year for you, to say the least, but the consequence of which has led to some pretty incredible things, not just for you, but for us as well. And I was wondering, how much of what happened to you did you bring into these shows? Was I reading too much into it? Or, do you believe everything happens for a reason?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I am safely in the realm of I don't know whether things happen for a reason, but I do think that obstacles are opportunities, and I believe that very strongly. So whether or not they happen for a reason, we can always use hardship to make our lives better. And for me, 2018 was a very trying year, a very trying time. But I, spent a lot of my life. It made me realize how precious my time is, how precious my relationships with other people are. So many people at my worst moment in my life, so many people reached out to appreciate their love for me, from my parents to my partner to the Guardians of the Galaxy, all these people who are my close friends. And I don't think I ever felt as loved as I did on the day I was fired. And I went to sleep that night and said to my girlfriend, I said, this has been the worst day of my life, but it's also been the best in a weird way, because I have a hard time doing anything but working. And I have a hard time experiencing connection with other people. I have a hard time ever feeling like I'm loved. And that's the God's honest truth to you guys. I'm like Peacemaker in that way. He has a hard time connecting to other people. And that was a gift that I got from that time. And I also got that, why did I start making movies in the first place? It wasn't because I wanted to, yes, I wanted to be rich and famous and all those things people want to be. But what is it that really drove me? And it was the creativity. It was the storytelling. And I feel like I had gotten distracted from the center of what I most loved, which is getting together with my friends and putting on a show, just like I did with all the neighborhood kids when I was a little kid, and we put on a puppet show. Nothing has changed for me since that time. And that's where I felt like this incredible creative outpouring over the past few years, because I went back to my roots, to what I really love, what I really care about, and that's collaboration and imagination and nothing else. And that's all that matters. So
Sugar tits are like smaller, perkier tits, like yours. Technically, I think you may have sugar tits too, but somehow that also feels inappropriate.
That was James Gunn and John Cena. HBO's Peacemaker premieres January 13th. Yes, that's right, folks. The first great series of 2022 is already here. Comment below. Let us know what you think of the series once you've seen it. Also, check out our other YouTube videos. Like, share, tell your friends, tell your family. You know what to do.